Hey folks, this is Mary. Welcome back to my channel. So we are on day 9 of 30 Inks 30 Days. And before we begin, I just wanted to say thank you very much to Ink Journal for giving me a shout out in their Friday newsletter. That was quite an unexpected surprise, so thank you so much. And congratulations to the other people who were recognized in their mention. Devin Liu and Chris Sines and Sarah Katie. So if you haven't yet checked their channels out, then you should definitely do so. So our ink for today is a sample that was sent to me by pen friend Casey. And unfortunately, I have left the sample vial on my desk at work again. So I was packing up to leave work today and I saw the vial sitting there and I thought, no, I'm not going to need the vial because I've already filled up my pen. It'll be fine. I'll just leave it there. Why did I want to leave it on my desk? I don't know. So I have, again, very carefully saturated my Q-tip, and now I need to make a swatch card. I have pre-swatched my spot here, or pre-swapped my spot there, to give that a little bit of a chance to dry. So this is, ooh, come on, pen. Noodler's Liberties. Oh my goodness, did I tell you the name of it? The name of the ink is Liberties Elysium. And I was going to apologize for my scatterbrainedness yesterday, but I don't seem to be much better today, do I? My goodness. And also on Amanda B's video, she mentioned that her camera was shaking and she needed to tighten it up to help it not shake, or it had been shaking, so she tightened everything up to keep it from shaking. So I thought that was an excellent idea, and I have been trying to tighten everything on my camera stand, but it doesn't seem to be enough to keep it from shaking. And the piston on this guy is starting to stick a little bit. Now it could be the ink. Maybe the ink is extra viscous or something, but when I'm depressing the plunger, it's not snapping back the way that it should. So, you know, we're on day 9 now, so I've cleaned it out every day for 9 days, and uh-oh, my Q-tip is running. So I'm going to have blue fingers. Not the first time that's happened, but I'm thinking that perhaps my piston needs a little greasing. And you might disagree with me, but I think TWSBI Go's are a little bit tricky to take apart. I did have to take one apart one time because I was having trouble. Oh no, the piston got stuck. Oh my gosh, did I ever tell you guys about that? I was gonna make a video about it, and obviously I haven't done that yet, but that was quite an adventure. It took contacting Goulet, TWSBI, the Norfolk Stationery, and much weeping and gnashing of teeth on my own. But I did get it fixed, and gosh, I am just determined to make a mess tonight, aren't I? I'm trying to do my drip, and it doesn't want to drip, so I just soaked the Q-tip a little bit more. But I don't think we're going to get a drip. But I do have ink all over my fingers, which is okay. And have I mentioned that this ink is water resistant? So we're going to set him aside to dry a little bit. And whew, everything is going to be blue before I'm done. Let me see. Okay, well. All right, so I need to label my swatch. Oh, shoot. All right, I'm just Butterfingers tonight. Hold on a second. But never fear, I just dropped the Sharpie, not anything containing waterproof ink. So this is Liberties Elysium. Now this is a Goulet ink, an exclusive ink made for Goulet by Noodlers. And I honestly cannot tell you why I have never bought a bottle of it, because it's blue and I love blue ink. It's an exclusive and I am fascinated by exclusive inks. So why have I never gotten a bottle of this? I really couldn't tell you. So we're going to try it out and see how it goes. So this should all be dry. I'm going to turn the page. And yesterday I forgot to do my little 3 swatch area, so I did that again after the video was finished. So, and I also forgot to put the date on it, so I just wrote the date in with my Sharpie, but I'm going to remember to put it on there today. Oh dear, my pen is burping. So today is 4/9. Ooh, and the pen is still burping. Goodness gracious. There's just ink everywhere. Okay. So I need to blot a little bit so I can actually make some legible writing. Okay. Oh, and I gotta blot that some more, because that is just way too much ink. Okay. Alrighty, well, we are having terrible thunderstorms here today, and I'm hoping that my power will hold out long enough for me to record this video, and I hope that my internet will hold out long enough for me to upload this video. And of course, Gus, like most dogs, hates thunderstorms, so he is just beside himself. And I really feel like it is too early in the year for us to be having bad storms like this. So it's going to be a crazy summer. Oh dear. I just see blobs of ink all over my desk. Oh my. All right. I think the ink is angry at me because I have never used it before. Me, the blue ink lover, have not used Liberty's Elysium. So I'm being punished by the ink gods. Ooh, yeah, there's just ink everywhere. Okay. So, where was I? This is Liberty's Elysium in my, of course, trusty TWSBI Go with a broad nib. And let's do our little water test lines. And now for our test sentence. Okay, this ink is coming out very wet. So I was writing with this today, and it just felt like my writing was too big. And you can see from yesterday with the Sequoia green that the lines look much thinner than the Liberty's Elysium. So I was writing in my journal with this pen, and I was very unhappy because it was all just kind of blobbing together. So then I consciously made the decision to write much bigger, and that looked better. It looked better with the way the pen was writing, but I don't personally like writing that big. So anyway, I think this ink is just really, really wet. Okay, so I have my super saturated swab here. So I'm going to do a swatch. I think this is just hilarious. All of my fingers are blue. Look at my fingers. And one more pass. Okay. Ooh, and the entire Q-tip is blue. That is hilarious. Okay. Alrighty. So we're waiting for this to dry so we can do our water test. Oh wow, it looks like it's already dry. Okay. Okay. So here is my pipette with some water. I gotta get the water to come down. Come on, water. Ah, surface tension. There we go. Okay, so we were just going to leave this on for 30 seconds because a minute seems to be too difficult on the paper. So we're going to wait 30 seconds. So, you know, now that my internet has been on the fritz, I have dusted off my DVD player, and I've been enjoying watching some DVDs because I have a very large DVD collection. But recently I've been looking at Anne of Green Gables, the Canadian production that was broadcast on PBS when I was younger. Oh, such a good show. I love that show so much. But just for fun, I looked up the actor who played Gilbert Blythe. His name is Jonathan Crombie, and he died a few years ago. I couldn't believe that. I think Megan Follows is still out and about and acting, and I saw her in something not too long ago. She was playing, I think she was playing somebody's grandmother on her deathbed or something like that. So I was very glad to see her out and about acting, but I feel like she's kind of been typecast in that period piece. Okay, so here is the water that I soaked up. Don't mind that green stuff, that's another ink. But I soaked up the blue water from our test area. But if you look at the ink, it is still quite visible. So this is not a bulletproof ink. I believe Brian Goulet said in one of his videos that he loved the color of Noodler's blue, but he wanted something with some water resistance. So this is what Noodler's came up with. So it's a fairly water resistant blue ink, but it still has that nice vibrancy because sometimes the waterproof inks can look a little flat. And I do see a bit of shading on this, but like with the other inks, it's so dark it's hard to see the shading. But and my swatch card is still drying and it's quite wet, so let's try not to set my notebook in the wet ink. All right, here is my Midori MD notebook, and here is how Liberty's Elysium looks on Midori paper. Again, there is some shading, but it's hard to see the contrast because the ink is so dark and very, very wet, very broad. I've really been enjoying the broad nib on the TWSBI, but it hasn't felt so broad. Like the Texas Blue Bonnet, that was super wet and the ink really spread out. But then the next few inks didn't spread out quite so much. But now Liberty's Elysium is spreading out more, and I kind of consciously tried to write it so it wouldn't be so enormous. But just in my regular writing, it felt really big. And here is my Hobonichi notebook. So here it is on Tomoe River paper. This is 52 GSM, and as with all of the inks, this Tomoe River paper just shows off the shading so much better. It's still a little difficult to see, again, because of the dark color of the ink, but it's much more noticeable on this than it has been on the other papers. It's such a pretty blue. Alrighty, let us take a look at some comparisons. And our swatch card is not quite dry. Those blobs are definitely not dry, but it's drying. And it's looking quite dark in the blobular areas. Okay, my camera is just all kinds of crazy. Let's see. Is that better? Okay. So, please bear with me. Blue is my favorite ink color, and I have many, many blue swatch cards. I will try not to overwhelm you with too many blues, but these are just for comparison's sake, so you can get an idea of what this ink looks like. So here is Pilot Namiki Blue, a very basic blue ink. Now, this is looking much softer, much less saturated, and this one is much brighter. And gosh, I don't know why the writing on that was so thin. Of course, I wrote that with my glass nib, and you know, sometimes a glass nib is not the best thing to write with. This is Private Reserve Lake Placid Blue. A bit more purple than Liberty's Elysium. Liberty's Elysium is just kind of a straight blue. Let's see, here is KWZ Standard Azure number 5. And this one does have some nice red sheen. Many of these blue inks have red sheen. Actually, it's looking kind of pink. I never know what color the sheens are. Is it red? Is it pink? Is it orange? I'm pretty sure that one's pink though. Okay, so he is looking much closer in color. But this is still drying, but I'm pretty sure there's no sheen, because Noodler's just doesn't sheen too much. Here is Ferris Wheel Press Jelly Bean Blue, and this is a very dark blue, kind of leaning towards purple, and it does have a little bit of pink sheen. Can we see that sheen? A little bit. And I've actually got this in my Lamy 2000, and it has been shading really nicely in that pen. Here is Diamine Florida Blue, a less saturated blue with a hint of red sheen. Let me see. I pulled out some tealish inks, but they're just not in the right category. And again, we don't want to overwhelm you with too many blues. Let's see, KWZ Walkover Vistula. Yeah, he's looking pretty teal. Here is TWSBI Sapphire Blue. Now this is looking much closer to the Pilot Namiki Blue. That's sort of less saturated blue, but it does have some nice red sheen. Oh, I love those TWSBI inks. They're so nice. Let's see, Pelican Royal Blue. Again, a less saturated blue, like the Sapphire Blue, with some red sheen. And here is Urban Eclat de Saphir. Kind of a more purpley blue, definitely in that less saturated category. And Monteverde Malibu Blue. Again, looking closer to these guys. Let's see. We need some more of our vibrant blues here. Where are all the vibrant blues? I'm trying to weed out some of the inks that I picked out because there's a lot of them. So we're gonna scoot this pile over because they're just not good matches. Here is Diamine Iridescent Maureen. I really need to get this in a pen. I've never written with it, but wow, look at that sheen. I bet this would be really fun to write with. I'm not crazy about sheen, but it is fun every now and then. Here is Noodler's Baltimore Canyon Blue, and this is one of the Noodler's inks I have found that does have some sheen. And it's a nice medium blue. I do see some nice shading on the writing here, but it seems a bit darker than Liberty's Elysium, but part of that might be from the sheen. Here is Colorverse Depth. Again, that kind of darker purpley blue with some red sheen. And here's Diamine Blue Velvet, which is kind of close to Liberty's Elysium, but again, it has that red sheen, and Liberty's Elysium does not. Private Reserve DC Super Show blue. A very vibrant blue with a little bit of red sheen. Kind of close to Colorverse Depth. Kind of close to Liberty's Elysium. And Diamine Sargasso Sea. Again, the blue with the red sheen. He's looking a bit more purple though, and a bit less saturated. Here is Diamine Majestic Blue. Now honestly, these swatch cards, the Blue Velvet seems more vibrant than the Majestic Blue, but that could just be how the card got swatched. But if I had to pick between Blue Velvet and Majestic Blue, I think I would go with Blue Velvet because it's just beautiful. Here is Monteverde Sapphire, and this is looking really purple with some kind of like yellowish green sheen. That's crazy. But yeah, he is not close at all. Here is Monteverde Ocean Noir. He's a bit darker. He's looking a bit more like Jelly Bean Blue. And gosh, didn't I just show this one? I think I did. The KWZ Ink Azure number 5. Yeah, I've got to go through my swatch cards. I keep saying that. It's still true. But swatching cards is so much fun. Okay, so I have saved the best for last. These are some of my favorite inks. Here we have Pure Pen Saltire. Such a pretty ink with the beautiful red sheen. And again, the sheen is making it look a bit darker, but I think Liberty's Elysium is a brighter blue. Here is Colorverse Supernova. So pretty. I have just fallen in love with this ink all over again. It's a very bright blue with lots of pink sheen, and it just looks fabulous in a pen. And I think this is a bit lighter and a bit brighter than Liberty's Elysium. And of course, here's my favorite, Monteverde Horizon Blue. And actually, I think this is a pretty close match for the color of Liberty's Elysium. It's just Liberty's Elysium doesn't have the red sheen. And the Horizon Blue is not water resistant at all. Yep. All right. Well, I think that was everything I wanted to say. But this is definitely my favorite category of inks. Now, you know, it's a blue ink. It's an exclusive ink. Do I think I'm going to get a bottle of this? I don't think I am, because I don't like the way that it writes so wetly. I mean, you can see here the writing is so, the lines are just so thick. Now, of course, these were written with a glass nib, so that's not a good comparison. But just writing with my TWSBI with the broad nib, this is coming out much broader than the other inks have. So, as you can see, I have lots of beautiful blues to fill that beautiful blue niche in my collection. So, I think I'm going to pass on Liberty's Elysium. But I am thinking about buying some more Noodler's inks before the end of the month. In fact, Norfolk Stationery is open tomorrow on Saturday, so I might have to make a little journey over there. We'll see. We'll see. All right. Well, that is all for tonight. Ooh, and here's my pen rest that Sarah over at Fountain Pen Insanity sent me, and it matches our ink. That's fabulous. All right. Well, thank you so much for joining me, and I hope you have a lovely evening. And if you are also experiencing thunderstorms like I am, I hope you make it through safely. So I will see you again soon. Take care. Bye-bye.